Welcome back to our channel, everyone. Today is a beautiful day to dive into the absolute chaos happening in Genoa City. We have so much to unpack today, and my head is spinning from all the daytime drama. Grab your coffee, settle in, and let's get right into the thick of it because we need to talk about the massive elephant in the room. And let's just start with the absolute mess that is Daniel, Tessa, and Mariah. Because honestly, I've been staring at my screen for hours trying to make sense of what the writers are even doing right now. You guys know I've been following this storyline since the beginning, and I can't even. So Daniel and Tessa are both lying to Mariah, just straight up lying to her face. And I'm sure they both feel like they are doing it with the absolute best of intentions. But let's be real here. Neither Daniel nor Tessa is being honest with Mariah. In fact, they are both just blatantly, boldly lying right to her face. They've completely misled her about the severity of their relationship. They are playing it off like it's nothing. Both Daniel and Tessa are downplaying the sheer magnitude of what actually happened while Mariah was away. And it is driving the fans on social media absolutely crazy. But think about the absolute audacity of it. Both Daniel and Tessa are looking Mariah directly in the eyes and telling her that they are just friends. Just friends. What an absolute joke. Because the truth is that Tessa really thought her marriage was completely over, and she thought it was dead in the water, finished, done. And so she and Daniel started falling for each other, and they slept together, and they shared their hopes, their dreams, their deepest problems, and their music. And music is such a huge deal for Tessa, you guys know that. Sharing her music with Daniel was basically sharing her soul. It wasn't just a casual jam session. It was intimate. It was deeply, profoundly intimate. So for them to just turn around and say, oh, we're just friends, nothing to see here, is insulting to Mariah's intelligence. It really is. Sometimes I just want to yell at the screen. What were they thinking? Who actually believes this is going to end well? It is just so short-sighted. It really makes me question their maturity levels, to be completely honest. And okay, maybe I need to back up a bit and be fair, because it was really Mariah spinning completely out of control that started this whole downward spiral in the first place. We all remember a few episodes ago when Mariah just completely lost it. She lost her grip on reality. She tried to kill a man. She literally tried to end someone's life in a moment of pure, unadulterated panic and madness. And then, kidnapping a baby on top of that, pushing Tessa completely out of her life. It was dark. It was so incredibly dark, and things really got incredibly bad. But I guess Tessa is just terrified right now. She's worried that her relationship with Daniel might somehow ruin Mariah's chances of making a full mental health recovery. And I get that. I really do. You don't want to be the reason your wife has a total psychological break. But is lying really the answer here? Is gaslighting the woman you love the right path to take? So if we look back at the timeline, if Mariah had asked a few months ago, the truth really would have been that Daniel and Tessa were just friends, at least up until New Year's Eve. But here's the thing, they started developing feelings for each other way before they ever actually hit the sheets. Daniel and Tessa both had these deep, lingering feelings, but they were in total denial. They just kept denying it and denying it. Like someone thinking out loud and not editing their thoughts, they just kept saying, we're friends, we're friends, we're friends, until it simply wasn't true anymore. And then while Mariah was away, Tessa actually initiated a kiss with Daniel. She made the first move. She crossed that physical boundary first. And that changes everything, doesn't it? It shifts the blame, it shifts the dynamic, and then Mariah, in her spiraling, chaotic state, just drops the absolute bomb and says, the marriage is over, everything is finished, just like that. She cut the cord, and what does Tessa do? She immediately pulls Daniel right into her bed. She didn't even hesitate. Okay, maybe that sounded a bit dramatic, but you get what I mean. She was hurting. She thought her marriage was dead and buried, and Daniel was right there. He was her safety net. He was her comfort in a world that suddenly made zero sense. And they crossed that line. They crossed it so hard, there is absolutely no going back. But now they are trying to stuff the genie back into the bottle, and it is just not going to work. You can't unsleep with someone. You can't unshare your soul with someone. For Tessa and Daniel on Y&R right now, their feelings are not just about sex. It is not just a physical thing. And the connection between Tessa and Daniel goes way, way beyond just the physical act of being intimate. If it were just physical, I honestly think it would be so much easier for them to just end it. because Tessa and Daniel could just stop sleeping with each other, right? Just like they already did. They could just zip it up, walk away, and pretend it was a momentary lapse in judgment. But the huge glaring problem here is that there's so many deep, intense emotions hiding right under that sexual surface. You know, Tessa and Daniel really, truly care about each other. Those feelings are intact. They are very much alive. They are breathing and growing every single day they spend together, even when they are just pretending to be friends. And Mariah coming back into the picture doesn't just magically erase the feelings they have for each other. You can't just flip a switch and turn off love. It doesn't work that way in real life, and it definitely doesn't work that way on a soap opera. The writers love to torture us with this kind of messy, complicated emotional baggage, and the fans are just sitting here watching this absolute train wreck in slow motion, because we all know that the emotional cheating is always, always worse than the physical cheating. The fact that Tessa and Daniel bonded over their music, over their shared trauma, over their mutual loneliness, that is the kind of bond that doesn't just snap because your wife comes home. That bond is forged in fire, and it is going to burn everything down around them. I am absolutely certain that Daniel loves Tessa. I mean, it is written all over his face every single time he looks at her. His dad knows it too. You know, Danny Romalotti, played by the amazing Michael Damian, is so worried about him. Danny sees right through his son. He knows Daniel is in way too deep and is playing a very dangerous game. But I also think that Tessa loves Daniel too, or at the very least, she has started to fall very, very deeply in love with him. But at the exact same time, Tessa is still completely in love with her wife, Mariah. It is this horrible, messy, beautiful, tragic triangle of feelings. She loves them both, and she is tearing herself apart, trying to hold onto both worlds without letting them violently collide into each other. And then we have this totally bizarre moment where Daniel actually encourages Mariah to reach out to Tessa. He tells her to work things out with her. Like, what is he doing? Is he feeling guilty? Is he trying to be the bigger person? Or is he just trying to cover his own tracks so he doesn't look like the bad guy? And that is exactly when Mariah looks right at Daniel and tells him that she knows he and Tessa are more than just friends. Mariah's intuition is sharp. She might be struggling with her mental health, but she is not stupid. She felt it. She knew it deep down in her bones. But Daniel just flat out denied it. He lied right to her face without even blinking. He looked at a vulnerable woman and fed her a massive lie. And when Mariah pushed the issue and questioned Tessa about it, Tessa lied too. She looked her wife in the eyes, the woman she vowed to love and cherish for the rest of her life, and she lied. She protected Daniel. She protected herself. And she probably told herself she was protecting Mariah's fragile mental state. But we all know that is a complete load of garbage. You don't protect someone by gaslighting them when their intuition is screaming the truth. And if things don't change, if Daniel and Tessa keep pretending to just be friends, then I think these lies are just going to sit there rotting the foundation of whatever is left of this marriage. The lies are going to fester like an open wound. Maybe Mariah will just ignore her gut feeling that both Daniel and Tessa are lying. Maybe she will push it down because she is too fragile right now to deal with the devastating truth. But right now, Mariah isn't even around to see them together. She isn't there to watch the lingering looks or the accidental touches or the way Daniel's eyes follow Tessa when she walks out of a room, because Mariah is currently in a mental hospital getting treatment. She is locked away trying to heal her mind, trying to put the shattered pieces of her sanity back together, completely unaware that the two people she trusts most in the entire world are the ones who shattered the glass in the first place. It is just so incredibly sad. Sometimes I just have to zoom out and look at the bigger pattern here. This is classic Young and the Restless. They love to build up a super couple, give us a massive love story, make us fall in love with them, and then absolutely destroy them from the inside out. But this storyline feels a little different because of how incredibly raw it is. Mariah's mental health crisis isn't just a cheap plot device. It's a deeply traumatic event that has rippled out and ruined everything in its path. And Daniel being the wedge between them, I have to admit I didn't see that coming a few months ago. I thought Daniel was going to be focused on his own life, not destroying someone else's marriage. But no, he had to go and fall in love with a married woman. And let's talk about the guilt. The sheer crushing weight of the guilt that Daniel and Tessa must be carrying around every single day Or maybe they aren't. Maybe I'm giving them way too much credit here. Sometimes I watch them on screen and I think, wow, they really think they got away with this. They think they can just sweep it all under the rug and pretend it never happened. But the universe doesn't work like that, especially not in Genoa City. The truth always comes out. It always bubbles up to the surface. And when it does, it is going to be explosive. It is going to be nuclear. The fallout is going to be felt by everyone in town. I keep thinking about Danny Romalotti in all of this mess. He is watching his son make the exact same mistakes that people in this town have been making for decades. He sees the train coming down the tracks at full speed, and he can't do a single thing to stop it. He knows Daniel loves Tessa. He can see the heartbreak waiting to happen. Because even if Tessa leaves Mariah for Daniel, which, let's be real, the fans would absolutely riot over, it would be a relationship built entirely on a foundation of lies and betrayal. How do you build a future on that? You don't. You just wait for it to inevitably collapse on top of you. And meanwhile, Mariah is sitting within the cold walls of a psychiatric facility. She is doing the hard work. She is going to therapy. She is facing her darkest demons. She is trying to understand why she snapped, why she tried to kill a man, why she kidnapped an innocent baby. She is doing everything right to get back to her life, back to her wife. And her wife is out here keeping the biggest, darkest secret imaginable. It is just so deeply unfair. It makes me so incredibly mad just typing this out. I am honestly a bit tired of seeing Mariah suffer. Hasn't she been through enough over the years? Give the woman a break. She is literally fighting for her sanity every single day in that hospital, and she doesn't need this kind of betrayal waiting for her when she finally gets out. Tessa's justification that she is lying to protect Mariah's recovery is the most toxic kind of love I can think of. It is patronizing. It is taking away Mariah's agency. Tessa's deciding what Mariah can and cannot handle instead of giving her the truth and letting her process it like an adult. And sure, maybe the truth would cause a massive setback. Maybe Mariah would have a total breakdown. But finding out later, after months of being lied to, after believing that she was paranoid and crazy for suspecting something, that is going to cause a permanent break. That is going to destroy her trust forever. There is no coming back from that level of deception. The fans on social media are completely divided on this, by the way. Half the timeline is screaming at Tessa for being a cheater and a liar, and the other half is making excuses because Mariah pushed her away first. And I get both sides. I really do. Sometimes I change my mind halfway through an episode. Like 1 minute I'm furious at Tessa, and the next minute I see how broken she was when Mariah said the marriage was over, and I feel sorry for her. Okay, admitting that makes me feel like a bad fan, but it's the honest truth. The writers have made this situation so incredibly muddy. There are no clear villains here, just deeply flawed people making terrible, terrible choices. And Daniel. Oh, Daniel. Denying it to Mariah's face when she specifically asked him point blank. He had the perfect opportunity to come clean. He could have said, look, things got complicated while you were gone. We leaned on each other. We crossed a line. I'm sorry. But no, he took the absolute coward's way out. He lied, he protected his own skin, and he protected Tessa. And by doing that, he essentially gaslit Mariah. He made her feel like her very valid instincts were just symptoms of her mental illness. And that is unforgivable. It really is. You don't use someone's mental health struggles as a shield to hide your own dirty secrets. It is just gross. It leaves such a bad taste in my mouth, and I know I am not the only one feeling this way. The forums are completely lit up with people calling him out for this exact thing. So where do we go from here? What is the end game for this messy, chaotic, heartbreaking triangle? Because Mariah is going to get out of that hospital eventually. She is going to come home. And she is going to expect to resume her life with her wife. But that life doesn't exist anymore. The Tessa she left behind is not the Tessa she is coming home to. The Tessa she is coming home to is a woman who has shared her bed, her music, and her heart with another man. And the Daniel she thought was her friend is a man who is desperately in love with her wife. It is a ticking time bomb just waiting to go off. I just don't see how this gets resolved without massive casualties. Someone is going to end up completely devastated, probably all three of them. And honestly, I will be right here watching every single painful second of it, complaining about the writers crying over the performances and typing out my frustrations to all of you, because that is what we do. We love this show even when it makes us want to pull our hair out. So let's brace ourselves, guys. The storm hasn't even fully hit yet. The real explosion is going to happen the second Mariah walks out of those hospital doors and the truth finally inevitably comes spilling out.